Select, let's see where we begin. Origen starts the day off by banning Ashe.
Yeah, they must have not played it much themselves, or just think they can, if they go back to the old meta picks in the bot lane, they can just straight up win 2v2 or in the lane swap. Maybe they just really hate arrows. Who knows? Yeah,
maybe they just hate champions to start with A. Alistar is also taken off the board. This time it's by H2k. See what Origen answers back with.
Yeah, let's see if we see an Akali ban here and then confirm your tier. Nope, Rek'Sai gets banned out. Really potent
there
jungler.
goes my theory.
This might lead to a possible Gragas pickup early for Origen. I think we rate Rek'Sai and Gragas basically the tier 1 junglers. Sejuani, less preference recently, and a lot of people actually want Evelynn over her, so let's see how that evolves.
Yeah, that has been really curious. And so with the Rek'Sai off the board, the Kalista is also taken away. So some power picks in several of these roles, but I'm curious to see what they prioritize. Origen, come back around to them.
Urgot's open, Cassiopeia is open, Azir is open, so we can still... The third ban on purple side is something I always really watch out for, because that spells out how both teams kind of have and will play the champ select, so let's see how that turns out.
That will be the key thing. Thresh is now the ban. They've chosen not to let Kasing have that. So H2k has one more to go.
I talked to Miffy, and he really rated Thresh and Alistar very highly. So both of these champions are out, so we're going a tier lower on the support list, and that might actually open up Bard.
Well, with the Urgot banned away, we may possibly see it. I think the Morgana might be very popular too, because, you know, well, it's been shown to be a very popular flex pick. So far, Gragas looks to be the first pickup, and it is Origen that take that one for Amazing. Yeah,
I wonder what H2k is going to answer it. Lulek's a very good game yesterday on Rek'Sai. I valued it over Gragas, actually, if I recall correctly. So both Rek'Sai, Gragas out. That leaves Sejuani and Evelynn as junglers left. Not really sure what Lulek's is going to pick out of both. Sejuani is a little slower. You can get punished early. Yesterday we saw Elements play Sejuani and got to level 6 for free, and you see how devastating that can be. On the other hand, we've seen in the past Sejuani's get punished really hard, and then it can get a little rough.
It's all about how you execute it too. And knowing H2k, their profile, of course, they always want to go for getting ahead in the game and starting these fights and skirmishes off 10 to 20 minutes in. We can expect their compositions to go that way, but you know, I don't think he's really worried about this game. He seems a little calm, a little laid back, if you will.
Yeah, or didn't get enough sleep because he was obviously preparing out. And I really like this. I really like the Sivir pickup with Urgot and Kalista out of the equation. Ashe gone too. I really like the Sivir Maokai. This gives you so much flexibility in champs. Like this could mean, you know, a Storm the front all in with a Sivir ulti, basically dive in composition. But you can still do anything. You can lane swap with Sivir. You can lane 2v2 in certain matchups. So definitely interesting to see what Origen is going to reply with.
Yeah, that will be curious indeed. They'll have to be able to break through the front line, whatever it is. That is Origen, I mean, since H2k. Yeah, I feel like they can go a lot of different ways, but I would expect that run-at-you kind of composition if they can pull it off. Origen now looking to get a little bit more firepower on their hands if they do lock this one in. Looking for the Annie and the LeBlanc. And we got one, we got the other.
So yeah, I've always been talking about Azir and Cassiopeia being like this duo top-tier mid picks, but it seems a lot of the European mid laners value LeBlanc in there, if not over both champions.
It's blind pick too.
Yeah, blind pick LeBlanc. She does well in a lot of matchups, but let's see what Rio answers with. Rio has played Ahri into LeBlanc in the past too, so could be an option.
Yes, indeed. Cycling through quite a lot right now. So he waits on his time. He doesn't have to pick it right now either, importantly. If he does want to go for that Morgana counter pick, he would probably still be fine to wait on it since the Annie's already been locked in, but I feel like that's not necessarily a Rio champion.
Yeah, not necessarily it says Rio to you, but they could flex a Morg here, pick something else, and then leave it up in the air where it goes mid and support. Not necessarily the best choice. Miffy going here for Annie. We haven't seen too much of Annie, but I like Annie against the top tier 2 mids that I was talking about. I like Annie against Cassiopeia. Flash Tibbers can shut her down. Immediate follow-up from Gragas can be really devastating. In addition on the Azir as well. That might prompt Rio to pick something else.
Yeah, well, he will wait till his last pick to go ahead and take that one. They lock in the Evelynn as another Evelynn pickup here in the summer split. And a Janna. I actually really like this in H2k's composition.
I'm actually going to disagree with you. I feel when you play Sivir and you send in everybody forward, right? Everybody's storming in the front. Sivir is really good at dealing with carries on her own. She survives on her own pretty well because she has spell sheets, she has all this crazy mobility. You generally don't want to peel for a Sivir too much. You just let her use Boomerang Blades, Bouncing Blades in the fight, the AoE, she runs around, and then you can use your support as an offensive tool. This is like a mismatch, you know. Maokai's going in, Evelynn's going in, but Janna's going back and peeling.
Oh, you mean with the Janna?
Yeah, for a Sivir, and I'm not sure if I like that too much. I do like the Evelynn.
I was talking about the Evelynn, yes, but I think you're right. The Janna's a little bit weird.
Doesn't
maybe
really
they just
work
want
out.
more lane sustained?
Yeah, maybe they're playing for a secure lane. Maybe they're they don't have any other answers for any left, you know, since both Alistar and Thresh are out. But in terms of composition, I want to see how this plays out.
Well, we'll see how Origins plays out. We've got a Vayne lock-in, it looks like, as well as a Rumble. So Origin's comp is completed. This
no, not yet.
Interesting.
They're still deciding.
Wait a minute.
They're still deciding.
Wait, oh, it got reset. Okay.
I'm not sure if they're going for this Vayne. Vayne is actually decent to the Sivir because she can tumble out of the Boomerang Blade and return some damage, and the triple Silver Bolts proc doesn't really get spell shielded, so Vayne has a way of doing a lot of damage on Sivir, but she's very short range into a Maokai, and yeah, Evelyn can basically catch up to her. However, there's no support catch potential here, so that might actually prompt Niels to actually lock in this Vayne.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the time about it, so thinking if that's what they want to go into. Wait for that one to count down. Looks like we're popping out for just a second. Slight technical issues, so just looking at what we have so far, we'll just speculate on that, because assuming Origen does lock that in, how does that fit into the rest of their comp? You talked about it a little bit, but expound on it a little bit for me.
I think what we see here again is that if I remember correctly, Origen was playing only one tank yesterday. Again, they really want Soaz on these carries. Soaz going for Rumble here. I think he played the same champion yesterday. It's a little hard to play sometimes. We've seen a lot of teams go for these double tank composition because it's just so easy to play, so straightforward, really good for controlling objectives. And we saw one tank composition punished yesterday. If we recall Rocket, they had Jankos and I believe Gragas. Enemy team basically, there was H2k actually, focused them down over and over and over in fights and then switched to the other targets. And it's going to get rough for Origen. At the other hand, they have a lot of damage though.
They do have a lot of damage, and if they can get catches on H2k, it can be really, really rough for that team. Now, quick catch up with you guys, just in case you're wondering what's happening. There was a little bit of an issue with champs, like Singh was unable to lock in his last champion. So we will pick back up from where that point was. All the same picks should be the same up until then, but we'll redo that last portion of it. So
yeah, we'll definitely
still have a very similar composition, but the Vayne, not a guaranteed lock-in.
Yeah, I actually take a step back there and look at the Janna pick again, and I want to reiterate that it's going to be interesting to look at it. H2k's composition so far is safe. You know, Maokai is very tanky. They have a lot of mobility from Sivir. They don't have the most hard CC, so Maokai will have to be the one engaging, or Evelyn will have to get around the enemies and get a good flying, because there's no engage component on the support for H2k, whereas Origen has that anti-flash tibbers they can use. So it's going to get rough for H2k to engage, especially with Maokai being so binary, you know, all in or flank.
Yeah, well, it looks like H2k's comp is pretty set up to be that way, with the exception of the Janna. Now, a little bit of extra information. Again, it's going to be the exact same picks for Origen, and all the way up to Kasing for H2k, so since he didn't have his final lock-in, we go all the way to that. So yeah, everything's just about the same. We'll see what H2k do choose as their pickup for Ryu. But yeah, Origen's composition, this is interesting, because I feel like they have a lot of like miniature power spikes in the beginning and in the late, but a lot of it comes together in the middle of the game. And if they don't hit that, if they don't utilize that to try and contest objectives, which is where H2k is typically a very strong team, historically, that could be troublesome for them. And, well, we'll see H2k pick up some scaling of their own in the Cassidy.
Yeah, a lot of damage, not so much peel though. The only peel here really is Gragas' explosive cask. And then Vayne has to basically take care of herself against a massive, basically Zerg comp from H2k. Again, they may be able to survive since Janna doesn't offer too much offensive threat, and that might be why Niels locked in that Vayne. But a lot of damage coming out of Origen right here. You know, if Rumble lands his combo, LeBlanc lands her chains, and meanwhile Vayne is proccing Silver Bolts left and right, this could mean disaster for H2k if they don't take smart fights.
And you mentioned the LeBlanc for Origen. I'm really curious to see how this matchup in the mid lane will go, especially because if you were to go back a year, 2 years ago, if you had said Peke and Ryu going up against each other was in a matchup, that would instantly be the feature highlight. That would be what everyone would be looking towards. I want to see if both these guys still got it. We've seen Ryu stepping up a lot more. We saw that a lot in the playoffs, a number of solo kills, and of course, everybody knows Peke. Everybody knows what he's capable of. I want to see how this matchup goes in the mid. But I know you want to talk a little bit about the bot lane.
Yeah, but I want to reiterate on your point, one short sentence here. I do know that you will never rule out Xpeke again, because I did that once. I did it before Worlds. I was like, yeah, Xpeke, he's all right, you know, but he isn't his former self. And then he showed up to basically destroy some mid lanes in that World Championship. Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, you've heard from us. What do you guys think? Do you think Origen's going to take this one, or H2k? You know what to do. At LOL Esports is the handle. Hashtag OG win or H2k win. And we are starting up on the Rift.
But you were right, though. I really like these two bot lanes because I respect Kasing and Miffy as supports. a lot because they're both really strong in lane as well as out of lane. It's going to be interesting if they choose to go for the 2v2. I think both lanes have something that speaks for 2v2 and against it. You kind of don't want to let the Vayne free farming. At the same time, it's double range against double range, and that's always an interesting matchup to see because it's less all-in heavy, it's more poke heavy.
Absolutely. We'll see how this game starts off the board. So, everything looks relatively normal. Line of scrimmage to start things off. So no shenanigans for either of those teams just yet. Ryu does take a little bit of damage from Mithy. So we have a little bit of switch around there. Mithy's subbing in middle for a second for X-Becky, who's waiting in this brush for Kasing.
Let's see if he takes some damage there.
Fnatic Janna versus Peke.
Oh, tribute to the king.
Yeah. There we go.
I think that shield was late.
Just a little bit.
He took the damage. Sports at 4 portion. Who cares anyways?
Hey, it's all about forcing little edges.
Little edges indeed.
Damage adds up, Crepo.
Yeah, it does indeed. That's true. Looking at the jungle pick for Amazing here, Gragas, we've seen some Gragas players get creative with their roots. Either clear one side, 3 camps, 2 camps, and then get a nice little cheesy early gank on one of the sides of mid lane on top lane. Let's see if Amazing goes for that. Or go for this full clear. Or, third option, he wants to punish perhaps Lulex in jungle because Evelynn goes pretty low on first clear.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, early on in the game, the very first clear, that's like when you can usually predict where jungler's going to be going. They've also got a couple of deep wards. You see Origen popping down one over by the red side, or the red buff, rather, of H2k. And since nobody's going to be there, they know what side of the map Evelynn's starting on.
Yeah, and it looks like the lane swap is predicted here. I don't know who initiated it or who called it, but both teams are heading up in the top lane. No camps. I really like watching laning phases like this without camps. This should give the push advantage to Sivir, though. There's no way Annie and Vayne can clear that without a camp. They basically want to poke back and let the lane push back as far as they can, because if they challenge the push, they will only get in more troubles later. I almost feel like Hjarn's over-pushing a little bit. I think Niels is happy with this.
Yeah, I think Niels will definitely be happy with the way this has started. He also was able to get a little bit of damage onto Hjarn to start this one off. It's just going to be so hard to push against the Sivir in general, especially sped up by a Janna. Mithy steps forward. He takes a whole heaping helping of damage. He should be okay for now. He's just nibbling away at the biscuits.
Yeah, trading damage on... Ooh, that's a good trade. Trading damage on support, on the AD carry, and taking damage on support is definitely what you want. You know, support has way more sustain than an enemy AD carry. The lane's pushing in here. Niels we'll have to see how well Niels farms under tower, because you're always playing under pressure, right? But we'll see how this turns out later. Let's take an eye and see how the rest of the map is going.
Yeah, so while this one gets a little bit more normal, we'll set it up in the mid lane where Peke and Ryu have already been trying to duke each other out here. Level 3 for Peke. He's pushing a wave into Ryu, and you know, this is going to be the rough start for Cassidy. He's always going to have a little bit more trouble to start things off, but he is still keeping up with the damage. Amazing, looking around the side, see if he stops to clear Crab. It looks like he will, and of course, Lulex is on his back right now, so no jungle help going to come to this mid lane just yet. The bottom lane continues to be a wet noodle fight.
Yeah, you see Amazing there, very healthy after clearing his jungle and the Crab, and he can immediately move in, whereas Lulex on Evelynn was forced to base and come back in. If Amazing reads this properly, he might be able to spot Lulex in the jungle or go for a dive here.
Looks like that might be chosen strat. Peke waits, there it goes! It's going to be Ryu forced to burn his flash. Ignite taking away his health, but he should stay alive through that one.
I think the body slam missed by an inch. The damage didn't carry over, and otherwise Ryu would have been dead. This was really, really close, guys.
And you know, it was really nice bait too from Peke. He backs away, and it just, oh no, it's okay, nothing's really happening. Nothing's really happening at all. And he doesn't really vary his style much to do it. He just backed away as if he was done and he was going to head to base. Now Lulex has found Amazing.
Yeah, he has the information. Amazing has no idea that it's spotted. He sees the warfare. This is really big. Now Amazing knows that every action was happening with the knowledge of H2k. So that means however people reacted, that was with, they knew where he was. But in the bot lane, so was turning on the Flame Sweeper.
Yep, he does turn that one on. As everybody who's played Pokemon knows, fire is strong against grass.
Yes.
So are towers, apparently. That one, I don't expect too much action to happen down there for a while until the teams really want to start looking at Dragon, but since we have the dual lane swap happening, I think it probably is going to take a while before that happens. We'll see. Teleport spent down to the bottom. Ottawamne gets back to base after picking up another Doran's. Lulex now on a roam upriver. Take a look at what they do together, but also let's take a look back to mid, because there is a massive CS differential. We said Kasten has a rough laning phase, and Peke is making it rougher. Yeah,
while the gank wasn't successful, it did mean a lot of pressure on Ryu here, but Lulex, he's hiding in the brush. Will Niels spot that in time? I don't think so.
They're trying to make it look very easy for Niels to push forward, but I think he knows something's up. He's going to check really close to Lulex. Mithy's the one who does it. Hate spikes flying. The Kadem against the wall will stop the Evelyn for the time being as Niels returns fire onto Kasing.
Yeah, and this is where it all becomes really rough. You don't want to change like the pattern you have been laning in so far, because if you suddenly start playing differently, good players will obviously smell the gank. That's why H2k was leaning back a lot, but that results then when Mithy checks the brush, not too much damage goes on Kasing here.
Yeah. Speaking of smelling the gank, Ryu knows exactly what's up. He saw amazing
Yarnin gets stunned.
Arden, he's stunned up. Spell Shield comes in too late. He has to flash his Ignite. Meanwhile, back to the middle. Ryu, oh so low. He finally burns down. It's amazing who gets the kill and barely gets out alive. Body slam back to tower.
Yeah, really good aggression here from OG. They managed to stun Yarnin there before his spell shit pops, get the ignite up before the heal, reduces, forces the flash in turn, and now they can push in this lane. And Niels, while he was down in CS earlier, he will deny so many creeps here, and this is really crucial. Origen is playing this very well.
They are indeed. Now Odoamne looks to check in onto Soaz. Doesn't really find too much damage. Lulex inbound as well to help Odoamne out. Soaz got to know something's up now, and they're looking for a revenge kill after the first blood. Flash for Flash, but Lulex wasn't on the same page he is now. He goes in, and he picks up the kill while Odoamne tanks the tower.
And I think this is definitely the right lane for Odoamne, for Lulex to gank rather. Having the Twisted Advance on Maokai allows you to actually lock a target down. However, when we saw earlier, he was ganking a double range lane without any hearts to see on his side, and we talked about it earlier, Pyra, in Champs. Like, Janna doesn't have much engage potential, right? And that really didn't work out. But let's see that mid lane gank again. Good chain from Peke. No more flash on Ryu. Body slam and a barrel, and then yeah, he just drops dead.
Slowly fading away. His pickup in the mid lane, and we might see part 2 in just a moment. Peke backs away, avoids the Force Pulse.
Too bad you can't avoid the Force Pulse.
Nah. Not when he's right next to you.
Exactly.
Amazing in Mithy now.
They've swapped the lanes back up. Right?
Yeah. This is, I feel like this is just to get the Dragon Control back in their favor. And they're saying that they're confident Soaz can keep Yarnin off this tower. Look at the damage from that Flame Spitter. Yarnin had no mana to really return fire on that.
Yeah, he has no summers either, so he has to be very careful. Origen is playing this really well. Their resource memory is really good. But here's Odoamne.
Yep, he zooms on in. Beeline towards Mithy. Amazing now having to body slam away, but now Niels is here, and H2k are turning and running. Yarnin, meanwhile, is burning away as Soaz outplays him in the 1v1. H2k in full retreat as Peke jumps over the wall. They decide to turn their attention to blue. Origen, they're doing everything right all across the map.
Yeah, we said this earlier in the pre-game. We want Origen to be more aggressive. If they play the same passive style, H2k from the 10 to 20 minute mark, they'll get ahead. But Origen, they got their foot on the gas pedal, and they're so far ahead already.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. It all started with a big equalizer, and Soaz kept on chasing.
Yeah, just solid play. And this reiterates that at the highest level, kills are often a two-step process. One, forcing the gank and the pressure to blow the summers, and then returning to finish your job. Amazing did it first. Got rid of Rio's flash in the middle lane, came around again, killed him. On the top lane, Niels and Mithy with a really good stun on Yarnin forced the flash and the summoner, and Soaz, because we're tracking cooldowns on the highest level here, he knew that, turned on the equalizer and basically just roasted Yarnin.
Absolutely. Completely cooked him alive, and speaking of cooking alive, Ryu is starting to feel the heat from Peke. Seriously down in this match in CS, 25 separating these two, and it's been a lot of jungle pressure. Ryu has still not picked up a Catalyst.
Yeah, he's very far behind. At the same time, Yarnin was forced to go for pickaxe as well. In a Vayne matchup, that's exactly what you want as a Vayne. You don't want to let the enemy AD carry get a B of sort, because you have this weird Cutlass build that gives you a lot of lifesteal and attack speed, but doesn't give you much raw damage. So in terms of one auto attack trades, you lose out a lot if the enemy has BF. But if it's just a pickaxe, you can sustain it up. We saw that yesterday as well in a Rocket matchup where Woolite had his pickaxe and he was facing a Vamp Scepter on the other side, and he couldn't widen the gap anymore. And this is really good for Origen's bot lane right now.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. And you know, we talk about H2k and what they do from 10 to 20 minutes, but Origen's not keen on letting it be an even playing field by the time it gets to that point. We're not quite at that 10-minute mark. Mithy now roaming down to the bottom side. He's spotted by Odoamne, who's a little slow to react, but that is because Yarnin on the hunt, coming on in, and now Odoamne chases in, throws down the Twisted Advance, and the Maelstrom. They're looking for Mithy, but it stuns up. Yarnin will find it with a Boomerang, and Niels all by himself. The hate spikes were flying, the poison was ticking, wasn't quite enough, and Lulex goes down, courtesy of the tower.
This is the third time I've seen H2k be a little hesitant on following up on each other. They didn't know Lulix was going for the dive. If we go back to the Rio play yesterday, Odoamne was a little hesitant. Go back to earlier when they killed Rumble as well. Odoamne was a little hesitant there as well. H2k is not fully in sync yet.
Oh, they are not. Origen, on the other hand, fully working like a well-oiled machine. 10.5 minutes on the clock. They've already amassed themselves their first dragon and a few hundred gold in the lead. Not too shabby.
Gold lead went down to 500 from 1,000 earlier. But, Soaz is looking for a little gank here. Peck is warming up. Odoamne spots it though.
He knows exactly what's up.
I don't think he knows.
Now he does.
Yeah.
There's the sapling. Who face checks.
Brave sacrifice.
It is important to remember the sacrifices of the saplings.
Indeed it is.
And the scuttle crabs.
And the scuttle crabs.
That's a story for another time.
Poor scuttle crabs. All right, so the bot lane's pushing out. Amazing coming in. He's going to spot that pink ward, clear it. So that's good for pressure. They want to find Lulix. Origen wants to know where Evelyn is, and then they can make calculated plays. Some aggression going on in the mid lane. Basic trade. Peke taking the better of that one.
Looked for a moment like it wasn't going to go that way, but Peke has consistently been on the up and up versus Rio. Lulix now going to find Amazing over by the blue. Well, that's one game of chicken.
Yeah, but the chicken's invisible, so Amazing's losing out on information here.
He's going to go back in for a little bit more, see if he can find something. The Gromp started up by Yarnan and Kasing. They back away as the ward goes down. So now he's just trying to heckle H2k's bot lane as Niels and Mythy continue to push up.
Yeah, level 6 on Myth. He has Tibbers prompted and ready. A good spell shield will be needed, or otherwise it's going to get real ugly.
It's 3v3, but Origen don't quite know it yet. Tower, however, going very, very low. The mini wave is going to be cleared out. Kasing helps push Niels back, and they will take the safe play. For now, Ryu, not quite too much damage on it, but Peke goes back in for round number 2. Lands the chains, but there's the Rift Walk.
See, but you say they don't know it, but it's likely to expect that Lulix is going to be hovering around that bot lane, because Amazing spent a lot of time there. Top lane's really not gankable. Mid lane's really hard to gank, so it's very likely that Evelyn's are down in the bot lane.
Right, and you know, when you've played as many games as these guys, you've got to have that game sense available to know when that's happening. These guys definitely have now a teleport for Soaz. Lulix is going to spot that one up. As Amazing throws out the big barrel. They were looking for Yarnan, but he threw down the spell shield and equalizer. Massive damage as well. They found it. The Monsoon will keep Lulix alive. Just barely, but Niels finds one. Can he do another? Condemn against the wall.
Here's Soaz.
Double kill. Soaz looking for more. Turns tail and runs. However, the tower was there. They forsook him, and it was a 2-for-1.
And this is why I think Miffy is such a good player. Really clutch two-man Tibbers, basically securing the kills for Origen here, and then a little bit too deep under the tier 2 tower. But you know, that happens.
Yeah, that's okay. Sometimes you can get a little bit too aggro. So in the end, they trade 2-4-1. Origen now, decent job in the bottom. Yes, and importantly, the tower.
They're definitely sitting on one tower here, one dragon against H2k's one tower, 0 dragons. They have a 2,000 gold lead here, and they're scaling into the mid game. And you mentioned it earlier. They definitely want to spike and get a lot of, make use of how much damage they have in the mid game and see if they can translate that in objectives. Let's see again. Lulix knows the TP is coming. He's basically hovering in between Gragas and Rumble to not get spotted. Kjarn, good spell shield. Kasing's going out. They can't disengage, and look at that Tibbers. Soaz basically burning them alive. Kasing turns around Rumble with his ultimate, but it's not enough.
Yeah, honestly, that Monsoon is pretty much the only reason that wasn't a triple kill for Vayne right there.
Yeah, I think the Monsoon could have been a little earlier. Ryu picks up a kill, and that's pretty good for H2k then, though. If you want to kill on one person on H2k, it is definitely on Kassin. He is the carry of this team. Sivir is a utility AD carry. Maokai, Peel, tank, engage. Definitely all the damage in the late game fights is coming from Ryu.
Yeah, I mean, anything I can get for him is great, because at this point he's still behind 45 CS. Peke has just been giving him a hell of a time this game. They'll finally grab a little bit more back, but now Origen can turn their full attention to this mid lane.
And yeah, while I was always praising Miffy for being such a good laner back in the day when I was playing against him in the LCS, right now, he's just playing, he's roaming so much. He hasn't been in lane at all. He's showing up left and right and basically facilitating the engage and making sure Lulix can't get into that river like he wants to.
Speaking of the river, Soaz and Peke are coming from that. They target Kasing, half his health is gone. Meanwhile, rest of Origen over at the Dragon, they've got Scuttle Crab Shrine, and it is an easy take for them. But H2k are pushing on the top in response.
Yeah, every time we talk about this, objective gets taken on one side of the map, you want to look for what they call the cross-map objective, but H2k might not be in time because they're getting greedy. They want the tower and the blue buff.
And they do. They've left Odoamne to just push this one, but rest of Origen should be able to come back and push him off in time. Ryu secures that blue buff. Lulix is there as well, but they don't have enough firepower to polish it off. So in the end, Origen come out ahead here. They've got themselves 2,000 gold in the lead.
They did steal the Bonk's blue buff, and that might give Ryu just that little bit of breathing room he needs to get into the mid to late game.
But Origen are already here on the other blue buff side. Amazing has started this one off. Thing is, can Peke really get there in time if Ryu wants to contest this? I don't think they really know this is happening just yet because they're not making moves for it.
Yeah, if the buff resets a couple of times, then Peke can pick it up.
There you
Good
go.
guy, amazing.
Just
Using those game mechanics to stall it out.
So in the end, they trade that one. Yeah, Origen really not giving much up for what they're taking here. H2k aren't incredibly behind, but this is traditionally the point of the game when they're at their strongest. And right now, they're barely keeping even.
Let's give it a couple more minutes. H2k usually spikes from 15 to 20 minutes pretty hard as well. We've been tracking those stats. It'll be rough because there's a lot of pressure coming out of Origen. They only have one tank, remember. If one fight goes badly, it can go badly really quickly, especially with Sivir being, you know, providing so much speed.
See what they do here. Again, mid lane focus can be where they go after this because Kasing and Yarnan are hell-bent on pushing in this bottom tower. They've got a decent-sized minion wave at their backs. Odoamne continuing to keep it pushing for H2k on the top as well. That will allow H2k to then direct their attention towards the mid, but they're pinging for help already. They know that tower's days are numbered.
Yeah, just some deep vision coming in from Miffy here. They basically want to surround the mid lane with vision on both flanks so they can safely push in this tower. Getting this tower will mean a lot for Origen because it will open up the map and allow them to roam and make more picks.
Secure it up, no problem. Meanwhile, up in the top, Odoamne's going to flash, but he's still stunned up by Miffy. Niels chasing him down, and he should be able to secure it as Amazing had him locked up. Meanwhile, back to the mid, Peke goes in, Lulex goes down, but so does Peke. There were way too many members of H2k there.
Yeah, and going back on that top lane play, really smart by Miffy. He sends out the Annie-Q that will follow its target regardless whether it flashes or not, and then land a stun. If you Tibbers, it can get dodged. If you use a W, it can get dodged. But if you just wait for the Q to connect, then you can guarantee the CC, but they're going out of mid lane.
Speaking of Tibbers, Yarnan, the rest of the team took a lot of it. Spell Shield will keep him alive for a few more moments, but Soaz is still able to burn him down.
Poor Yarnan, his flash is almost up. He could have maybe escaped that if he had his flash, but good cooldown tracking and good aggression from Origen. I said this before, I really want him to get more aggressive against H2k. Don't play that slow passive style, and they're doing it perfectly so far.
And counter-aggressive too. They knew that H2k was going to push after they took Peke down in that mid. They were very prompt to react to it. So far, yes, they've given up a couple of towers. That one on the bottom really didn't matter too much for them because now they have a bit of a free farm lane. Peke's going to be able to clean that one up.
Odoamne just picking up some CS here. H2k basically all base. They're coming out of the base, seeing what they're going to do on the map. Yeah, it's getting rough. So much pressure coming out of Origen.
You know, the longer the game goes on, though, for H2k, in the mid lane especially, Ryu will start to look better and better, and Peke will start to be a little bit less relevant, but there's still a long time before that happens, and as you mentioned, they really only have one true tank, so Peke just can continue to try and pick people off, and it'll get pretty scary for a while for H2k. I feel like they have to, while they are playing well and aggressive, they have to respect that.
Yeah, they have to be really scared for a lot of picks. At the same time, Niels is farming up a Storm. 157 CS, 4 kills. Blade of the Ruined King, Zeal, Boots. And yeah, Cloak finished already. He's going to be so strong so quickly.
It's not something Yarnan will be able to match very well at all. They really need a wombo combo to try and take that. But again, if they check too heavy into Origen, there's always that threat of the Tibbers. And then it has been, as we've seen, Niels just cleaning house.
Yeah, a lot of threats on Origen. The Rumble. Look at Soas. He always has Leandris finished with the Horseshoes. He does a lot of damage. Niels does a lot of damage. Peke does a lot of damage. Even Miffy does a lot of damage for support. Yeah. Oh. Damage everywhere.
Yeah, tower goes down. There's an equalizer. Lulex is going to have to move away, and Peke has him in his sights. Can he pick him off? The wild chase through the jungle commences. The hate spikes will do nothing to Peke, as after the chains hit, it was all over.
Yeah, and they see Cassin on the bot line, desperate for some farm, but it leaves the rest of the map in a 4v5 and very little engage. And Origen has the freedom to play around because it's hard for H2k to catch Origen. The only person that can really do it is Odoamne, or they can group up with the Sivir. But in a man-down situation, Origen has the freedom to basically make enemies jungle their own.
Exactly what they're doing. They utilize that jungle path to make moves towards the mid lane. Already tower half the health down. They know Caston's in the area. They're trying to get out of there. There is the on the hunt. Odoamne, the chains do not connect on him from Peke, but the explosive cast will push them back. And now up in the top, Niels continues the work, and they just keep haranguing this H2k squad.
A good disengage here. Ryu trying to get the slow on Peke, but he goes back in.
Wow, all right. Not sure if that was the best decision Peke has made today, but I don't think H2k really expected it. Meanwhile, Otawamne now targeted down. The tower is still doing some work, but Oda will finally evaporate. Niels jumped on by Lulex. Does he have the damage? Condemned against the wall? Yes, he does. Niels is unstoppable, and he gets some help from Mithy, while Soaz is chasing Ryu back. This tower should be gone.
Going down too.
So is Yarnin. Goodbye. Good night.
Fantastic kiting by Niels. He basically almost gets caught there, but he says, nope, the JPEG. He tumbles out, condemns into the wall, and basically kills them one by one because there's not enough damage on H2k's side.
And they just high-fived themselves into death. So now 4 members down. Origen are able to take that tower quite easily back. They can spend their gold. Speaking of, look at that difference, Crepo.
Oh, 7,000 gold all of a sudden. Origen is basically, their foot's on the gas pedal right now.
Absolutely. It's just insane what they've been able to do. Let's take a look at this. You're right.
They're going on Niels, he takes some damage, he's tanking. Tumbles upwards away from enemies. His only escape path is left now. Flashes out, Luix flashes after him. Tumbles for an angle on the Condemn, gets him into the wall, and Kasing just doesn't have the damage to follow up. He's not an Annie player. Double stun by Miffy, really vital there too. Keeping Kasing busy. Niels lifesteals up with that Blaze of the Ruin King. Fantastic play.
And then Yarn just should never have been there at that point. So it was all over. So Origen, they go back, they spend that massive amount of gold they've got. They're setting up for Dragon here. Look at that difference between the mid laners. I wanted to touch on it once again because Ryu has just been effectively gimped on items this game. Now Peke in some trouble, but he's still LeBlanc. Should be able to get out. And now Niels is in. Oh, they just want to go for it.
He's confident.
Now coming in from Soaz. They won't even need him right now as the rest of the team is there. 1, 2, and 3. They peel the bark off the tree and they can take Dragon for free.
Yeah, and this is why I love Xpeke as a player. He's getting chased by 2 players, right? And then he spots Evelyn, and instead of distorting out again, he says, nah, I'm just gonna chain you and walk away. He goes aggressive while being defensive, and that's the mark of a fantastic player like Xpeke. He doesn't just want to get out of there, he wants to trade efficient damage in the meanwhile, and this allows Niels to come in, Soaz with the teleport, and they clean up a fight where the other teams may have just ran.
Fantastic player and a fantastic score. 5-1-2 on the LeBlanc, 5-0-6 for the Vayne. And what does H2k have right now? A 1-1 Kassadin that has been starved for gold this entire game. It is not looking good for this team.
Yeah, you could say that much. I really wouldn't want to be in H2k's position right now. 16-4, 3 dragons, the makings of really good vision to bait the Baron, potentially just do the Baron. Origen in the driver's seat.
A lot of people ask the question, you know, Origen, they look really great on paper. They blazed through the Challenger Series last split, but they really were not tested so much. I feel like this game, in theory, was the test, but look at that gold difference versus time. Look at what they've done this game. It feels like they're still cruising at a speed that they control. Yeah,
they're definitely snowballing this game. And something I've noticed a lot about some of these players, they adapt to the level of their opponents. Miffy, you know, you meet him sometimes in solo queue, he doesn't take it all too serious, but once you face him against an actually really good support laner, good AD carry, he adapts to that level and he transcends and he plays so much better.
Does Miffy know how to play Bard?
Miffy does. He knows how to play any champion. He's really good.
That's a good answer.
But my Bard's better.
Okay. We'll see if he takes the challenge sometime later in this split. For meanwhile, Origen, they're setting up. Can we keep some vision on that Baron?
But look at Origen yesterday against Giants, and look at Origen today against the top 3 team in the European LCS Spring Split, H2k. They look much, much better.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, it's very spot on to say that they're playing to their opponents because H2k are a fantastic squad. Giants, they made a lot more mistakes. H2k punished those kinds of mistakes very well. And Origen, they've just been very, very... they've shored up those holes in their play from yesterday. And I don't know if that's a one-off or if they're just really leveling up now, or if it is true they just play to the level of their opponents. But right now, they're not giving an inch to H2k, and this is where it's gotten them.
Yeah, Origen in prime position to go 2-0 in their opening week, and that's definitely what they want. They're new to the split, so if they want to make it to Worlds, they have to finish pretty much top 3, and well on track so far.
Number 1 would guarantee them that particular position, and I think that's what they're looking to shoot for. So far, a strong statement out of Origen. On the side of H2k, just scrambling to try and stay alive in this game. 3 dragons to 0 is that scoreline. You take a look at the way the items are across the board, and it's just still painting a grim picture for H2k. Yeah,
Kasing is desperately trying to finish Mikhail's Crucible to get out of the CC, but at this point, it doesn't matter whether you break the CC because the damage alone will just straight up kill your team.
Lulex prowling around.
He needs to steal this.
He has to be able to, but he
scouting.
doesn't quite have flash up. He's going in. The Tibbers is on him. They turn their attention, and the solo mission is a failure. Baron is going down. Origen has everything. And they're back into base.
Yeah, without flash or added distraction from the other H2k members, it's very unlikely that EVE will just be allowed to walking, not against an Origen that's playing as well as they're playing today.
Not at all. Absolutely flawless performance from them. Soaz goes down to clear out the wave on bottom. H2k, they've got no pressure anywhere on the map, really. They maybe can use the top wave that they've got pushing Otoamne, trying to push this one out, but still, it's going to be a long time before they can do much against this squad. Yeah,
and Pekka's even picking up an elixir here because he's on 3 items already. Look at Ryu, Zoniast and Rod of Ages compared to Ludzyko, Abyssal Scepter, and Morellonomicon Sword Shoes. Just popped his elixir. Pekka is making his lead even bigger with this short spike, and he uses that power, he invests that power to get even more gold and snowball his lead even farther. Origen is not sitting back. They want to drive this victory home in the next 7 minutes.
Yep. One thing that you could say of a lot of teams in the lower parts of the bracket in the LCS, European LCS last split, was just that they had trouble closing games out. This is clearly not an Origen problem. They know what to do in this situation. They know how to take the lead.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But they're not done yet. You're right. It's not over yet, but they are knocking at the door.
Yeah, Vayne. When a Vayne is allowed to do that much tower on a single wave, you know you're in trouble. So super short range
when amazing, when your jungler is just tanking the turret laser, yeah, you're definitely in trouble. So
they have to give this up.
They have to give the inhibitor up. It's just falling way too fast. Another minute and a half till the next dragon. Origen can easily stroll that direction whenever they want and leisurely pick it up as easy as possible. Ryu, his health bar, where'd it go? He has to go back to base at this point. I think this could be another inhibitor.
Yeah, Castle, traditionally the anti-mage gets dropped to 40% HP on a single combo from Xpeke here. This tower is likely to go down. I think we'll see panicking Jake coming out from H2k once this tower hits 50% or something. They have to try something.
Do indeed. Baron buff still empowering those minions, so Origen can push just a little bit longer.
Look for the Righteous Glory Sivir ulti. If they're gonna do something, it's right now.
Yeah, well, and there it goes. The equalizer gets thrown down though, and H2k's health bars are evaporating. A very big barrel separates H2k as Ryu throws down the Zhonya's. Desperation move onto Niels. It doesn't work. It's just not enough. And Origen, with 3 kills, will get another in him and set their sights on the Nexus.
Again, fantastic kiting by Niels. Somehow, amongst all of that, he manages to stay alive, and Origen is looking to close out this game immediately.
Teleport on the Tibbers. Soaz says, I'm going to end this game in style. Clear through the last of the minions. Peke causing havoc to Yarnan in the back. They're looking to end it right now. And under 28 minutes, Origen have thundered to a 2-0 start in the LCS Summer Split.
Yeah, Miffy and Niels definitely very happy there. Soaz going on for the good old LCS group hug. But yeah, fantastic play by Origen. Honestly, did not expect them to play this well.
No, I think after their performance against Giants yesterday, there were still some open questions. Would they be able to compete with the team that very convincingly took the 3rd place in the spring split? And that answer is a resounding yes.
We've been hyping Niels 7-0-8 on Vayne. Didn't die a single time. Basically carried the game alongside Soaz and Peke, but definitely star performance for Niels. And in a league where AD carries shine, where the likes of Forgiven, Reckless get a lot of praise, Freeze, even Niels, I think he's definitely going to fit in. And it just shows why people were, back in the day when Niels barely joined Origen, he was rumored to be in line for the Fnatic spot. And now we see why, because he's a fantastic AD carry.
Absolutely. You know, and against some of these very, very strong squads, they'll still have their work cut out for them. But for now, what an incredible performance against a very good team. They just did not give them an opening.
Yeah, they have some breathing room. They're 2-0 in the LCS, best record they could hope for. They can afford to slip up a couple of times, and they're well on their way for playoffs, but the way they're playing right now, they want #1.
I don't think they're going to be resting on their laurels anytime soon. See them all crowding around.
Yeah, who did the miss damage? I did the most damage. No, that was me. Remember that double kill? Yeah.
Oh, God. That Vayne performance was absolutely fantastic. But I do feel, yeah, H2k, they focus very heavily on trying to keep the mid down a little bit. Just didn't really do anything. And there's
Soaz with the baguette. Some top quality banter.
Tasty bread, man.
I love baguettes.
I do too.
Not gonna lie. They're bad for you, though.
It's carbo.
It's all carbs.
Get enough energy. You can carry like that.
You need energy with games like this. Production, get me a baguette.
A really big one.
Yes, indeed.
Not the petite one.
But yeah, going back to going back to the game, let's see where did it go wrong for H2k, and I think looking at Lulex, I think he spent too much time top. It's really hard in this double ranged lane on the top lane without an engaged opponent on your support. When the lane's this close to your tower, I don't think he should have been ganking there, because we saw afterwards he ganked Soas in the bot lane and that worked. And I would have liked repeat ganks on the bot lane to get Oruame snowballing, because we saw how good H2k is once Oruame gets going on that Maokai. And yeah,
it didn't really work out that time. I agree. I think they could have forced maybe the swap down from Origen a little bit sooner too, and that might have freed them up to take an early tower top, then contest more dragons, and the whole game may have shaken out differently if that had been the case. I really feel like his very early game on Evelynn was quite good. He went Warrior Enchant as well, which is a little bit different than what we've been seeing Diamond Prox, in his less successful attempt when Magus.
It's tricky. Once you get behind with Warrior, you get blown up immediately. But the thing is, if you look at Sivir, right? Sivir Janna, really safe lane, can farm, a lot of utility, disengage from Janna, no fight potential. Sivir's a utility 80 carry, and the reason she's so strong in other regions, because it allows the jungle to snowball the mid lane and the top lane. Ryu was definitely under pressure there. Xpeke and Amazing did a phenomenal job basically camping Ryu, forcing his flash, killing him again, forcing him out of lane. Every time he loses some CS, 5 CS here, 6 CS here, 3 CS here, and Pekka just snowballs the lead. And then that frees up Pekka. He can go left, he can go right, but more pressure on the other lanes. And H2k they ran out of breathing room and they just got forced into their towers. And then Origen playing a nice roam style, Miffy joining in as well, didn't spend all his time in lane. Really good resource management from Origen. Yeah,
and really good map awareness too, and knowing what pressure points to hit. I did think it was very strange that H2k neglected Ryu so much, considering, casting against LeBlanc does not have the easiest time in lane, and facing down someone like Peke, that's a daunting task in and of itself. And I just feel like H2k could have done a lot more to take the pressure off him in the early game and help him get to a better mid.
Casting against LeBlanc is fine if it's a slow 1v1 matchup, because LeBlanc will never have enough damage to one-shot you, so it basically becomes a sustain war. Just trickle each other down, and eventually you base, and then you come back, but you get to level 6, you get to your items, that's fine. But once Amazing joins the fray, he starts joining in, body slam flash. Jungler gladly trades his flash from mid lane if he can return later without any pressure. And Lulex, he found Amazing in the jungle, but all he could do was watch and say, like, yo, goodbye, Amazing, run out of my jungle. But he could never really kill him. And that was the problem for H2k. Too little offensive threat, especially in the early game. I'm going to reiterate, I think with a utility 80 carry like Sivir, you don't need Janna. You want more power on support, you want more things happening. But 2 support bans turn out in favor for Origen here.
Yep. Well, that was all that had to be done. Origen managed to grab that one in convincing style, and we're going to go ahead and send it back over to the analyst desk where Shox is joined by Origen support Mithy to break that game down.
Thank you very much, Pyrotechnics. And joined here by Mithy, who is, once he can hear us, he can't hear me right now, which you will in a second, but the people at home can hear us. We're joined by Mithy after that second victory for OG in 2 days. Can you hear me yet?
No.
No? Well, wait, I have an idea. Do this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. That was a pretty good 2 days for OG already. Tell us about this game specifically, because it was quite hyped in terms of 2 versus 2, and it ended up being the 2 versus 2.
Yeah, we wanted to lane swap. Plus, we have never played Vayne before. Like, we played it like 2 times. So, but I told Niels that I wanted to lock him in Vayne because it was really OP against that comp. And we wanted to lane swap, but then we blind swapped, they swapped on us. Then we were a bit scared, but they didn't really do much. And then we could have killed him, but Niels misplayed a bit. Even though I'm not sure, but I think we could have killed. But I'm not sure if the guy would have died if Niels auto-attacked before he hit. But yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, a pretty elaborate explanation, and it was very close as well. Tell me about more of your game plan, because we've repeated so many times that H2k is so good in the beginning of the game, and it did seem that you guys on every front just wanted to shut them down early.
Well, I don't know how good they are. We were very scared. I was very, I mean, not scared, but I have a lot of respect for Kazing, and I was, like, hyped up, like a bit scared in a way about the match. But so I gave my best and it worked out. But we haven't really seen, we haven't played against any of these teams offline. So it's hard for us to say how good we expect them to be or how good they are. Maybe they're much better than they played today. It's just a best of one, so you never know.
I think it's very interesting because you guys showed a lot of strengths there. Even growth, I didn't see Niels really play Vayne in Challenger. One thing I wanted to pick up on was H2k in this game. They did so many things differently to how we're used to them doing. Only in 3 games, 2 after Kissing joined, did they ever give up the first 3 dragons. That is something completely not like the H2k we know. Just also the 2v2. Yesterday, Kissing said here on the analyst desk that he felt Hyanan and Kissing were the best 2v2. You guys certainly made it not look that way. What are your feelings on how strong Niels and yourself, Mythi, are? How good are you compared to every other bot lane?
We're fine.
You're fine?
Yeah.
We're fine.
You look better than fine in that game, I must say.
I love how Niels is sitting here. He's quite confident. You just keep it cool, and you're like, we're fine. And you like having a great scoreline yesterday, 0-2-16 on Alpha.
The thing is, well. I feel, or I'm getting the impression that a lot of LCS teams think 2v2 killing people or just trading and out-trading is important, but in reality, all you have to do is farm up, get a good comp, and not die to ganks and lose the game. And yeah, I think we do that good. We don't kill the enemy. I mean, we could have killed them, I think, this time because they screwed up, but it's all about punishing mistake. And if you try to force mistakes by over-trading, like for Given Dust, for example, it can sometimes backfire really hard, or you can win really hard. But I don't think that's the right approach to a game.
Well, the knowledge bombs dropped right here by Mythi. You guys did kill a lot of people, although in this game, of course, you have to win the game. And we have a replay that we want to line up. Very impressive, just showing how aggressive you guys were early, and some great play by you as well. And you wanted to set this one up.
Yeah, so what happens here is that we have TP priority on them. The Maokai has no TP, we do. So we can basically force a 4 versus 3 on bot lane, which means we can dive them easy with the picks we have. And then we just basically call it off. We tell Peke we're gonna dive bot, so you can like just do whatever you have to do. So you are here at least 3 seconds earlier than Kassadin.
Flash.
Yeah, like just whatever, you know, because he can, like, if Kassadin roams first, it can be a bit annoying. But if he roams at the same time as him, it's fine. And we just set it up. We're 1 man up, so all we have to do is just click our spells and kill them.
Yeah,
they
or
can't do
run
anything.
click right now.
Yeah. So yeah, they smell it too. They start running, but well, I mean, Janna has to flash out. But yeah, as I said, it's like 3 versus 4, so there's nothing they can do. I flash and stun them.
Pretty nice stun.
Yeah, then we just keep chasing them, and then I think Soa starts trolling at some point here.
Oh, Niels
yeah,
actually
we get 2 kills. Yeah, and then Soa is trolling here. Yeah.
A little bit overconfident at that time, but well, you guys had a really good game overall.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of the biggest things coming out of Champion Select was how the Evelynn would affect the game. And I have to say, Origen did a great job in the early game. You had enough information to kind of predict where Eve was going to be. And you guys know Lulex. He goes very greedily through the jungle and backs. And amazing read it perfectly. That's the one thing. The early gank onto Cass.
It felt that they didn't respect Amazing enough because I think, actually, I don't remember, but I think we banned Rek'Sai. I'm not sure.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Yeah, and we got, like, basically Rek'Sai and Gragas are the best junglers right now, and we banned Rek'Sai, so if we get Gragas, then the enemy jungler is a bit screwed in terms of early game pressure, and they didn't care about it, so I felt they disrespected Amazing in that regard, and he did a very good job early game, and they tried to gank me top, but I kind of smelled it. It was pretty obvious, so they didn't really get anything out of it top, and I don't know. Once Eve shows, she loses all the pressure, and then Amazing could freely gank mid, even flash in mid and do whatever because he won't get counter ganked.
Yep, good read, good picks, good game overall, and 2-0 on the very first games of Origen in the LCS. Congratulations,
Thank
Mythi.
you very much.
All right, we need to go on cooldown, but when we return, Pepinero and Giants Gaming will take on Soren and the Copenhagen Wolves, so don't go anywhere.
All right, so maybe I'm crazy today and delusional, so we should not listen to me.
Okay. Yeah, as usual.
Per usual, don't listen to me.
They found it, the Monsoon will keep Lulex alive, just barely, but Niels finds one. Can he do another? Condemn against the wall, so a double kill.
You have to back, you have to back, you have to back. You have to
Fight
back,
them, fight them.
Okay, we're coming.
Into.
You can delay them. I'm soon here.
Nice.
This guy up.
Kill him! Yeah! Well, and there it goes. The equalizer gets thrown down, though, and H2k's health bars are evaporating. A very big barrel. Origen have thundered to a 2-0 start in the LCS Summer Split.